question real quick about Nelson Rockefeller and John Birch. What you could tell us about that?
Well, you know, he died fornicating with his concubine. So Nelson Rockefeller was a real piece of work. But as you know, he was busy financing the building of the UN. Nelson he aspired a little bit too much to be too public. And this is one thing they don't like. So I wonder how he really died. But Nelson Rockefeller was very subservient to the order, like his brother David, who is greater than he is. David is the greatest of the Rockefeller brothers. Okay, shall we continue with Council for National Policy?
CNP, yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, we have a priest, Father Charles Fierce, I believe, F-I-A-C-E. We have John Quaid, who was an actor, and he was also the big promoter of the Jural Society. And the Jural Society was really a clandestine operation to revert back to feudalism when canon law was supreme. They pushed a lot about canon law. We have...
Sure, I want to interrupt real quick. John Quaid, from what I saw, did a 4 to 5 part series about being sovereign and what it's like and how to go about being a sovereign individual.
Mm-hmm. And that's completely bogus. It'll never work, and it promotes anarchy. The only sovereignty is in the sovereignty in the people as a body and not in individuals. The only individuals that are sovereign are these devil servants like Queen Elizabeth II, busy serving her master, the Pope. The Pope is a sovereign in the law. The Queen's a sovereign in the law. Those individuals are sovereign. They cannot be sued. But as far as the people's concerned, it's the people as a group that are the sovereign. In fact, there's a book you might want to get. It's called Defense of Virginia and the South by the great, one of the great advisors of the General Staff of Stonewall Jackson. It was Robert Dabney. And he gets into this Lockean theory of each individual as a sovereign. He shows how it works. Nothing but anarchy. And Dabney was probably one of the greatest theologians, Presbyterian theologians of his days. Okay. We'll go to Dr. Charles Rice. Dr. Charles Rice was a Roman Catholic. He's late, he's deceased, but he was a law professor, I believe, at Notre Dame. Now, whenever you see Notre Dame, the first thing you want to think of is Theodore Hesburgh. Theodore Hesburgh is one of the most powerful men in this country, probably one of the 10. He has in excess of 150 earned and honorary degrees. He is Professor Emeritus, President Emeritus of Notre Dame. He still has an office there. I think he's in his 90s, and he goes to work there and does a little bit of work every day and smokes a cigar. One of my friends recently interviewed him. He had a ride in an SR-71 many years ago. He was involved with I believe it was the Ford Foundation, big banks in New York City. He's a member of the CFR. He's a Knight of Malta also. This man is very, very powerful and cannot be overlooked in the scheme of things. And so when he has a professor that's a member of the CNP, then you know he's got his hand in it too.
So he would be considered one of those high priests that are behind the scenes that most people don't know about?
That's right. That's exactly right. And Theodore Hesburgh, he wrote the Civil Rights legislation for 1964. He wrote the Civil Rights Act. Are we still together?
I don't know.
Next telephone.
Okay. Okay. Well, we can anticipate a little bit of static here.
We are definitely having a little bit of technical difficulties. I'm definitely sorry. I know that I'm Skyping Ma Justice right now, co-host over there on Oracle. She's also having problems with the chat, so I wonder if that is up at all.
No, I'm not getting the chat either. I refreshed and I don't have the chat either. So,
yeah, so I guess
apologize, people. If you wanted to ask us a question, I refreshed my screen, and Everett also, and we're basically locked out of the chat room. So I apologize for if you guys have any questions.
Mm-hmm. It is all about Eric John Phelps tonight. Now, the reason I had asked you, Eric, about Rockefellers because in the movie I had seen, they went into extensively how really just how these organizations are claiming to be conservative when John Birch was funded, I believe, by Nelson Rockefeller, and CNP was funded by Reverend Sun Myung Moon. So I mean, it's just kind of amazing to me, that people would think that these are uber conservative organizations when they're just funded. John Birch especially being funded with like one of the biggest socialists ever.
Sure, people connected to the Council on Foreign Relations. So that shows you right there that the big bankers working for the Pope fund both extremes, just like they did in Germany. They controlled the communistic movement, led by certain select papal Jews in Bavaria, and took over Bavaria for, some 18 months. Well, that drove the Roman Catholic people of Bavaria into the arms of the Freikorps out of Bamberg, which later became the SS. So they always use the left-wing communistic side that is usually headed by openly Jews or blacks to then drive the whites into a right-wing fascist agenda so they can carry out the genocides. What they did in Germany, they have the same plan for here. Okay, back to the Council on National Policy, if you wish. Zig Ziglar, he's a big motivational speaker.
Yes.
CNP. Eric Prince, his mother is in it. And, of course, we talked about the Blackwater connection. Not to mention that Blackwater is a modern-day crusading order. It is the largest mercenary army in the world, and it is everywhere, and they have offices throughout this country now, and Blackwater will be assisting the Order's Department of Homeland Security. Remember, the Department of Homeland Security was founded by a Roman Catholic member of the Jesuit Volunteer Corps. He is also a Knight of Malta. He's an adjunct professor at Georgetown University, and his name is John C. Gannon. John C. Gannon received the highest award that he could get from a civilian from George Bush. He was in the CIA for 22 years. He was the one responsible for giving the president's daily brief in the White House. This John C. Gannon is a very important, this is the Jesuit behind it. And so what they do is they put a front Jew up to blame the Jews for it, like Chertoff. But the man really responsible was John C. Gannon.
Well, Chertoff's also a Knight of Malta anyway, so.
Yeah, oh, is he? Is Chertoff a Knight of Malta too?
Yes, he is.
I've seen a little bit on that, yeah.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it so much.
Chertoff is a Knight of Malta.
Excellent, wonderful. So glad to know it. So again, we're solidifying our case that the Knights of Malta are behind this entire fascist movement, and to add, as I've said, that no matter who they put in office, either McCain or Barry Davis Obama, the strategy is going to continue. There's going to be a continual buildup. That's what he did in Afghanistan. Guantanamo is not closing. Everything that he promised, he will not do. And I even noticed that Rachel Maddow, she's now becoming disillusioned with Obama, and now she's waking up that, hey, it's the same agenda and nothing's changing, which brings me to another topic, and that is I believe the Council for National Policy will be instrumental in bringing forth a third political party.
Huh.
And
yes. Yeah, we see that happening now with the Libertarian, the Constitutional Party, the whole Ron Paul movement.
Yes.
Adam Kokesh, we see Ron Paul's son getting involved into running for Senate also.
Makes perfect sense. Now, you see, this is exactly what happened in Nazi Germany. You had the Center Party, and you had another party there. And the Center Party was primarily run by the Roman Catholics. But the Center Party deferred and enabled the Nazi Party, coming out of Roman Catholic Bavaria, to then get power and become absolute. So this bringing up of a third political party is paralleling perfectly what was done by the Jesuits in Nazi Germany, remembering that the Nazi Party came out of the strongest Jesuit power base in all of Europe, which was Bavaria. Okay.
What is the point of the third party? Is that just to divide and conquer a little bit more, keep more people scattered, and swing the old paradigms?
Provide freedom.
Well, no. The purpose of the third party, the purpose is to unite all the whites into a fascist right-wing party. This is racial. And so they're going to drive the white Roman Catholics, the apostate white Protestants, Can you still hear me? Okay.
Yeah.
I can hear you.
Okay. The Baptists, the atheists, you name it, is going to drive the whites to desperation, exactly as they did in Germany, except there were no racial divisions there except Jews in Germany. So they're going to drive them to desperation, and look at all the companies that are failing, the falling of the dollar, deliberately doing this to adopt the Amero. They're going to drive the whites of Canada and the U.S. to desperation into a third party that's going to be waiting with open arms, which who knows what the name of it will be, but it'll be essentially a fascist party with spokesmen like Sean Hannity and Bill O'Reilly.
And
that's what they're
possibly.
And Glenn Beck. That's what all they're about. They're appealing to the typical white middle class, the hard-working people who now have had all their savings stolen, they've had their retirement stolen, and they're angry. And they're looking for a scapegoat. Why, look at all the blacks. What, 95% of the blacks voted for Barry Davis Obama? They didn't know what he stood for. So now they're going to blame the blacks for putting Obama in office, and what, some 55% of all the Jews voted for Obama? So they're going to blame the blacks and they're going to blame the Jews for putting Obama in office when, in fact, it was the Jesuits of Chicago and of Georgetown that put him there. And his advisor being the Roman Catholic Joe Biden, who has 2 degrees, one from Jesuit Scranton University and the other from St. Joseph's University in Philadelphia. He is the one that is dictating the policy of Obama. So they've created their polls, and then when this all happens, then the white people will be driven into right-wing fascism. And this is where I agree with David Icke, even though I believe he's a coadjutor, that the end game is fascism, not communism. Okay.
Can you explain the difference?
Real briefly, I had a question real briefly about where the Heritage Foundation and the Royal House of Tudor, Phyllis Schlafly and Hillary Clinton, and where they fit in, CFR, CNP, and what's the difference? What's the necessity for having the Council on Foreign Relations and the CNP?
Okay. Think of your dialectic now. The Council on Foreign Relations is primarily communist, full of Jews. I mean, you have important Jesuits in there, like Jesuit Joseph A. O'Hare, who's a Jesuit of the Fourth Vow, past president of Fordham University. He's a CFR presider, just like David Rockefeller. And you have other significant Knights of Malta in it, like Alexander Haig and a few others. But the open appearance of the Council on Foreign Relations is left-wing, supposedly. And so it's full of Jews. You probably have 300-400 Jews in it. I have their most recent annual report. So that's the left-wing extreme. And that's what all the attention is to be put upon. That's what the Birch Society did. It's all CFR, CFR, CFR. But they don't want you to have the attention on the sucker punch. And that's the right-wing extreme, the fascist extreme, the Council for National Policy, the John Birch Society. They don't want you looking there for the problem. And so that's what this is all about. So while they're preoccupying you with all this whole communist agenda that's going on, more and more socialism, take from those who produce and give to those who don't produce, the whole idea is to create more and more agitation and aggravation. I can't save money. I can't even get food on my table. We need a hero. We need a strong man. And here he'll come. And it's going to be the 1930s all over again with the attempt to create a military dictator, as Jules Archer wrote in his great work, Plot to Seize the White House, which was a plot by the Knights of Malta led by John J. Raskow to make a military dictator out of Smedley Butler to overthrow FDR. So when that didn't work, then they just went into the woodwork and nobody went to jail. But they're going to do that same kind of thing again and give it another stab. Make sense?
Mm-hmm. Yes, sir. Now, I read that there is going to be another right-wing group starting up, and I believe that Jeb Bush is one of the founders.
Well, that makes sense to me. That night of Columbus.
It was. Isn't it with a what's the Mormon Republican's name? Mitt Romney.
Oh, Mitt Romney also. Yes. Mm-hmm. And Sarah Palin will be involved too.
That makes sense. Mitt Romney's a Mason. All your top Mormons are Masons. The Mormon Prophet's a Mason. They're inducted into the Masonic Lodge outside of Utah.